Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, done. Right. So, what is basically a Python module is? Okay, there are several modules. So here in example in this slide, I'm just showing you only four modules. That is, one is math module, random module, SYS module, that is system module, and then OS module, operating system module. So there are several other modules. So what is basically a module is? So module is nothing but it is a library. It's a set of related functions. It's a set of related functions that we can use in our program. Okay. So but before we use any module in our program, so what we need to do is we need to import that module. Just like in C programming language we write dash include stdio.h. So with that line it will make us to access the functions available in the stdio.h header file. Likewise, so if you want to use any function from a different module, then we need to import those modules in the program. So for that, what is the way to do? Okay, I mean how to import the modules in the Python program. So for that, we have to use the keyword called as import keyword. Okay, I'll show you with the example here. Is my screen visible? This Python.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now there are two different ways to import any module into our program. So the first way is to write the keyword import and then followed by name of the module that you want to import. For example, if you want to import the random module, okay, so this module is basically contains this set of functions for random number generator. Okay, there are many functions to generate the random number function, random numbers. For that you can use the random module. So this is the way. So now the random module is available with us. So any of the function from this random module can be accessed. For example, so there is a one function called as rand int. So mean to generate the integer number. To generate the integer number, right? So then you can specify the range within which it has to generate the random number. So this is the starting number and this is the end number. Between this 1 and 10, between 1 and 10 it will generate one integer number. Okay, for example, you see here, now when I execute this function random dot rand int of 1 comma 10, so then it is producing 2. Similarly, if I rerun this function, then again method, then again you see here it's generating some different number, that is 9, right? So randomly it generates a number between 1 and 10, right? So okay, now you see here I'll show you another way. For example, I'll restart the shell here now. So now see, if I try to execute random.rand int, since I restarted a shell, so the previous import will not be available, right? So now if I again write this function, now look at here what it is showing. What it is showing?
Error.
Why it is showing error message now?
Import.
Random is
Because random is not defined. Mean what I did here, I restarted the shell. Restarting is nothing but whatever the previous imports were there, they were not available. Okay, they were not available. So before importing any module, if you try to access the methods or functions available in the module, then it will show the error message. So the first thing what you need to do is, if you want to use any method or functions from the module, then first you need to import the module. For that purpose, first you need to write the import followed by name of the module. So thus now it's available, you can go for accessing the functions. It is rand of print. Now I'll write 10 comma 200. Now between 10 to 200 it will generate some random number. Now it is generating 149. Right, this is one way to import the module. The second way of importing the module is, what you can do is you can use the another keyword called as from keyword. Then from followed by the name of the module. You have to write the name of the module, then import what you want to import. So you can write star. Mean if you want to import all the methods available in the module, then you can write in this way, right? Otherwise, if you want to access a particular set of module, later I will show you particular set of methods, then you can write something dot star, right? So I'll show you in other in later classes, right? So now again this line, this statement, Okay, from statement will import all the functions of that random module. Now again, what you can do, you can call the functions available in the module, but this time you need not to prefix this random dot. You need not to prefix this random dot. That's the difference between the from keyword and import keyword. Right, when you use the from keyword, you need not to prefix the name of the module. You need not to prefix the name of the module for the function to be accessed. See, if I write this one as I did earlier, so now it will show the error message for this one. Look at here, built-in function or method object has no attribute randint, because now this randint function can be accessed directly. Since we have used from keyword to import the module, so you can use the functions directly in the program. So now if I write just randint of 1,10, so you will get the random number from that. Did you get the difference between the two way of importing? Hello all?
Yes, sir.
Sir, repeat once again, sir.
Yeah. So there are, so look into this one, look into this example here in PPT. So the one way of importing the module, is import followed by the name of the module. Import followed by name of the module. Here is name of the module is math. So here in the second example, name of the module is random. In the third one, I am importing two different modules in single line. That is SYS as well as I am importing OS. So this is one way of importing the module. Mean all the methods of that module will be available with us, so that we can use in our program. But when you use this method, of importing modules, then for every method that you access from the module should have a prefix name of the module. For example, mat.pow, mat.sqrt, random.randint, okay, sys.exit, right? So like that, for every method you need to prefix the name of the module followed by dot operator. But the other way of importing the module is this one, from keyword. You can write the from keyword followed by name of the module. Here is the name of the module is math, followed by import is the another keyword. Then what do you want to import? If you want to import all the methods of that module, then you can simply write star, right? Then similarly, I am importing here from random module all the functions of the random module. I am importing with this line here, that is from random import star. So suppose if I use this method of importing module, then I need not to prefix name of the module with the dot operator. Simply I can write the POW, you can write SQRT with parameters, then randint of with the parameters. So directly you can write the functions. That is what I shown here. Look at here. So here I written import random. So for that reason, what I did here, for this randint method, I prefixed this module name, that is random dot. Are you getting my point now?
Yes, sir.
When you do importing from this way, with this way, then you need to always prefix random followed by dot operator for the method to be referred, right? When you use this way of importing, then you need not to prefix random with the name of the module with the dot operator. Directly you can write the function name with the arguments, required arguments. If you specify the random dot name of the module with the dot operator, then it will show the error message. You can see here, if you specify this one, it will show the error message. So these are the two different ways of importing the modules. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Now we'll see one more example. Here you can see this one now. Import random. So then I taken a for loop for I in range of 5. So then print, you look at here, I am printing random number generated from the for a function called as randint. So just I'll execute this one. So 5 random numbers it has to generate and it has to print on the screen, right? Now I'll take one program file, I'll type this, I'll paste this code, then save this file. This is sample related to import, sample import, right? Then right now look at here. So since the loop runs for how many times? See here, first argument is 5, so only one argument is there, 5. So loop runs for 5 times,
8 times.
right? 5 times. So 5 times, so different random numbers, 5 different random numbers will be generated. So that's why 2, 10, 5, 6, 2. Randomly it has generated between 1 and 10. Between 1 and 10. Did you get this one now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the other way, same program but in other way, right? Now look into this one now. Okay. Right. So yeah, this is again sample related to random. So I'll name it as random 1. Right. Then run this code. Now again 5 different random numbers are generated, like 9, 9, 5, 1, 9. So why the repetition? Because only short range. Since there is a short range, so there may be a possibility of repeating the same number, right? So now look at here. So for loop, since for loop is repeating for 5 times, so 5 different numbers will be generated with the function randint. But look into the code here. So the earlier one and this one. Yeah. So look into this one now. So here we have used a method, right? Yeah. Yeah. So here, look at here. Here we have used import random method of importing the module. So that's why here we have prefixed name of the module with a dot operator. But here we have used keyword from to import the module. So that's why we didn't prefix the name of the module with the dot operator for the method to be accessed. Did you get this difference, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This way you can do importing the modules. So module is basically nothing but a program that consists of set of functions, okay, related functions. So those functions will be available with you when you import, then you can use as if it is your own. Okay, all right. Then the next example. So if you want to end the program early, so I mean if you want to terminate the program early, so then how to do that one? So for that we have a method called as exit method, which is available in the module called as system, that is SYS. In short, it is called as SYS. Look at here now, run this code. Take a new file, run this. Again it is related to importing. Okay, import. Okay, now take a right. Now this time I am importing a module called as SYS, and I am using one of the method from this SYS, that is exit function. So SYS dot exit. So now this loop, while loop is an infinite loop, but when you type exit, then it will terminate the program. When you don't type exit, it will keep on looping the program. Okay, now look at here. So type exit to quit the program, but if you type XY, something else other than XYZ, okay, now right, so now PQR, right, so same thing, ABC, so it will keep on asking the data. So when you type exit to quit the program. When you type exit, it will terminate the program. Okay, so here I use exit. So you can use even quit also, anything you wish. So here I'll write type quit to exit the program. Okay, so this way now you can change the program, you can run. So now again, so just if I type the quit, then it will terminate the program. So mean when you type something like quit or exit, anything that you checked with the condition here. Okay, so now it will execute the function called as system dot exit function. So this method is going to terminate the program. This is called as early exit. Still further part of the program is there to be executed, but because of your condition, so this program is going to terminate in between the program execution. Did you get this one now? Hello all.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, did you understand importing module and using the functions of that module?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that completes the second chapter, right? But before I go for the next chapter, so you already worked on so many programs with the while loop. Okay, so these are the programs which we have already worked on while loop. So now your task is to write these programs with the help of for loop, because in the last class I already discussed about for loop. Okay, you can use the for loop to write the program for these. Will you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, try.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
try
sir.
writing. So I already explained prime number logic, GCD logic. Okay, so all these I already explained. These are there in the slide, and even the slides are already uploaded in the classroom, Google Classroom. Refer this and write the program for this. Okay, with the for loop. Okay, right. So now coming to next chapter, that is functions. What are functions, or what is function? Yes, this is one of the fundamental feature of any programming language. So that has use scope. Functions, writing functions has use scope in any programming language. So you must understand, and you must be very thorough with the writing of functions. Okay, right. So in this chapter, basically you are going to learn how to define functions, then how to invoke functions with or without arguments. Okay, then with the function definition, how to write with or without parameters. Okay, then functions with or without return values. So all these are you are going to learn in this chapter. Okay, with the simple execution I am going to show you how the very simplicity of the Python programming language to write the functions. Okay, yes, what is function basically?
Group of statements.
Yes,
Group of statements.
yes, Sudhakar, loud.
It is a reusable code.
It's a reusable code. Okay, right. Yes, any other answers?
Group of statement.
Sorry,
Group of statements.
group of statements. Okay, fine, that's also correct. Okay, right. Then any other answers from others?
Block of code, sir.
Block of code. Okay, right. Group of statements, block of code, reusable, all are fine. Okay, so basically the basic definition of function, a simple definition is, it is a set of instructions to perform a particular task. That's all you know. But Python, functions can be called as, these are piece of reusable code. Write once, use many times. That's why we call it as reusable code. Just write once and use many times. Okay, just to understand this statement, go with this one now. I'll show you. Okay, with some execution. Okay, try to understand. Now we have one function called as, we already seen a function like print. Yes, is it a function or not? Print. Yes, print. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so print is one function that you already used. Okay, likewise we have already used function called as type. Okay, we have already used function called as type to know the type of the data. Okay, whether it is integer type or floating point type or string type. Okay, to know the type of the data we have used function type. Then also we have used function called as input to read the data from the keyboard. Yes, we already worked on this input function, right? Then now I am going to show you another function, because functions are basically classified as two types. One is the built-in functions, mean which are already available as a library. Okay, those are called as built-in functions. And another one is the user-defined functions, mean we can define the functions ourselves and we can use. Okay, so basically functions are classified as two types. One is user defined, another one is system defined, right? So now here I am going to show you one of the function called as max. Okay, it is going to find out the maximum of the given input. So look into this function first and try to understand, okay, the advantage of the function. So now what it is doing, max of 10, 20. What it is returning now?
Maximum value.
Maximum of the given inputs, that is 20, right? So even you had written code for this one, right? Finding the maximum of two numbers. You already written code,
Yes,
right?
sir.
By using if else statement, you are
Yes,
written
sir.
code to find the maximum of two numbers. Yes, you see here now. I'll write now 10, 20, 30. Same function name with the 3 arguments. Now what it is showing?
30.
30.
30, right?
Thank you.
So when I send 2 parameters, it is working for the 2 arguments, right? It is working for the 2 arguments and it is producing the output from the 2 inputs. When I am passing 3, it is finding the maximum out of the 3 numbers, right? Right. But your program, you already written program, right? So you wrote a program using if else statement for 2 numbers. Does that program works for 3 numbers? Hello all. You already written a program for finding maximum of 2 numbers. Does that program works for 3 numbers?
No, sir.
No, you have written
No.
some other program, right? You have written some other program for that, right? Yes. Then
Yes,
look
sir.
into this one. Look into this one. First, I am showing you the advantage of functions. Then I'll come to how to write and all. Okay. Now you take here. Now what I'll write here? I'll write a string called as welcome. Right. Now look at here. Now what it is showing? Max of same function I'm using, but with the string input now. Now what it is showing? Welcome is the string given to it, input given to it. So out of these welcome, which one is having the largest ASCII character value, largest ASCII value? So obviously small a is having the 97, right? Small a, ASCII value of small a is 97. So then W is the almost is having the near to 120 something. Yes or no? 119 or something. Right. So among these characters, W is having the largest ASCII value, right? Hello all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding or not what I am showing you?
Yes, sir.
Same function I am using with a single string argument. Now when I pass single string argument, what it is finding is among the characters in the string, it is finding the one which is having the largest ASCII value. So that is W, which is having the largest ASCII value. But look at here now, if I run the same function with look at here, now I'll write hello world, right? So now if I run this one, now it's showing the output as welcome. Welcome is the largest among the strings, welcome comma hello world. It is again finding the maximum among the 2 strings. So since because welcome W is having the largest ASCII value than H, so this welcome will be displayed as the largest one, max among the 2. Right. Now try to understand from these 4 functions. What is this one? Is it basically called as function overloading? If you remember the object oriented concepts, function overloading, same function with many forms. Yes. Yes, Smita,
Yes, sir.
Manjula,
Yes, sir.
Deepa, are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Anuradha,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anuradha,
Yes, sir.
all of you understanding or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Look into the advantages of the
Yes, sir.
functions. Neha,
Yes, sir.
Purvi,
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding what I'm showing with this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So mean one function is doing many purpose, is serving many, okay, in many forms, is serving in many forms, right? It is working with 2 integer arguments, it is working with 3 integer arguments, it is working with single string, it is working with multiple strings, okay, even you can go with floating point values, so it will work, right? So that mean when you define a function, then that function can be used in many forms. Okay, you can overload the function with multiple arguments, single argument, 2 arguments, 3 arguments, okay, of different types or of same type. So then you can reuse the code. Write once, use many times. So this is what the advantage of writing the function, right? Did you understand why we have to write functions?
Yes.
What is the
Yes, sir.
need for writing functions?
Yes, sir.
What is the need for writing functions? Yes, what is the need? will it save time? Will it save our time?
Yes, sir.
Will it save our
Yes,
code?
sir.
Will it save our code?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Will it save our code? Mean, will it save the length of the program? Mean, will it reduce the length of the program?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So many advantages, sir. So even the complexity, what about the complexity? Will it be increased or will it be reduced?
Reduced.
Reduced.
Will it be reduced? Yes. Right. So reusability, reducing complexity, debugging will be easier or difficult? Easier.
Easy.
Easy, sir.
Right. Okay. So many advantages, sir. So many advantages we have with the help of functions, sir. So that's why. So here you are going to learn, in this chapter you are going to learn the functions, how to define functions of our own, because we already know there are so many modules. We can import those modules and we can use the built-in functions in our program, as I shown you. Print function, input function, length function, len function is there to find the length of the string. Then we have already shown you the type function, now max function. Okay, like so many functions are there. So those are all built-in functions we can use, but we can write our own functions also. So that's why functions are basically classified as two types. One is built-in functions, another one is functions that we define ourselves, right? So look at into this red line. Okay, reusable pieces of code is called as functions. Okay, then here is the definition, technical definition you can call it as. So it is a reusable code that takes input arguments as input. Okay, that takes arguments as input, does some computation, because when it accepts some input, it will perform some computation on those data, and then it will produce some result. Either it may be a single result or maybe multiple results. So it will produce one or more results. Sometimes even without results also we use functions. Okay, so basically it takes some input, does some computation and produces the output. Look into this one. Here I am showing you the picture of that one. So max is the function, right? It is taking some input and it is producing some output here, right? So hello's word is the string, input string given to max function. Among this one, it is finding the one which is having the highest in ASCII value, so that is W. So that's the output. A function is nothing but some stored code. Look at here, another definition. A function is nothing but some stored code that we can use anytime. Okay, so it takes some input and produces the output, right? Then look into the components, different components. So here max is name of the function, and this one single quote hello world is nothing but an argument, and then when it evaluates, it will produce some output. Okay, and that output is that result is the W, and this W will be assigned to a variable called as big. Okay, so that's how you can use. So even min function is there that you can use, right? So basically a function is nothing but a reusable code that accepts some input as argument and then does computation and then produces the result. So then how to define our own functions? So that can be done with the help of a keyword called as def. So define, it stands for define a function. So def stands for define. So we can define the function by using the keyword called as def. So then once we define a function, then we can call that function with a name and then parenthesis. To invoke a function we must use parenthesis. Then if any arguments are there, because arguments are always optional, it can have 0 arguments or 1 argument or 2 argument or 3 argument. So all arguments are optional. So that's why if you have any arguments, then you need to enclose those arguments within the parenthesis. If you have multiple arguments, then you need to separate those arguments by comma, right? So simple syntax, we'll see that one. Okay, so now we'll go for the user defined functions. So now how to define our own functions. Okay, we'll start with defining our own functions. Now look at your syntax. Is this screen visible now? Right. Now to define a function, what do you need to do? What is the syntax in it? This is simple syntax. It is not as complex as in C programming language. Okay, see here, simple. Start with the keyword def, right? Leave one space, then write the name of the function which you want to use. For example, I'll go to maximum. I'll use a function name called as maximum, right? Before that, sorry, I'll show you simple function. Later I'll go with the different one. Simple, just greet function, right? So greet, name of the function, then parenthesis. So here I'm taking 0 parameters for the function. Later I'll show you with the parameters, then end with the colon, right? End with a colon. Then in the next line, with the indentation, you have to write the block of code. See, if you start writing from here, if you start writing line of codes, okay, line of codes from here, then it will be an error. Okay, so always you need to use the indentation, either leave one simple space or use one tab. Okay, write the functions. So for example, I'll write hello mej. This is the line I want to print with the function called as this one. Then
So your voice is breaking, sir.
my voice is breaking, right? 1 minute. Okay. So now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now. Okay, so go with this one now. This one now. So now here I define function with simple one line. Okay, now I'll call the function. To call the function, just I'll use the function name with the parenthesis. Now look at it. Save this code. This is a sample related to function. Yeah, I'll be created some other functions. So I'll go with the name function2. Right. Now run this code. Right. Now what it is displaying? Hello mej. So what happens, you see here greet function, when you call this function, then control will be transferred to mean the execution control will be transferred to the function definition. Since the function definition is having only one line of code, so that line of code will be executed. So if I add one more line here, so print, then welcome to Python language. Right. So now there are two lines. So when I call this function, then it is going to transfer the control to this function definition, and it is going to execute the function line by line. So there are two lines. So two lines will be executed, one followed by other. So this is hello mej followed by welcome to Python language. Is it difficult to write this way? Is it a function writing functions? Look into this example and tell me, is it is simplest way for writing functions, or is a complex part? Simple. If the same, if you write in C, if the same program you write in C programming language or in Java, yes, what will be impact? What will be the impact? How you write?
You should write again main functions.
First you need to write a function definition, then you have to write main function, then in the main function you have to call the function main, and then you have to execute the main, then function will be executed. So function declaration is required, function call is required, function definition is required in the C programming language. But here you see, just we are defining the function, and later we are inviting or invoking that function to execute, right? And this definition of function definition can be written anywhere. This can be written anywhere. Look at here. Now I'll change this one. See, for example, I'll take x equals to 10. Something I'm adding here. Just y equals to 20. Then I'm writing print of 10. Then print. Okay, right. Print of x. Then I'm writing print of y. And then I'll write this function definition. Right. I'll write this function definition. And then I'm calling this function. Right. So before this also I'm going to print again print of 100, and then after this one I'll write print of 200. Right. Now I added some code, some more lines of code to this one. The definition is somewhere in between the code. Right. Still, if I run this code, it will work without any error. So 10, 20, 100, then hello mej. The output from function is hello mej, hello welcome to a Python language. Then another print statement. Yes. But was this possible in C programming language?
No, sir.
No, because functions always are to be declared before the main or after the main. Yes, function definition should be always either before the main function or after the main function. But in Python, you see here, you can write anywhere you wish. See, if at instant of time, if you want some function to write, then you can start writing there itself. can start writing there itself and you can use it, right? So like it again one more time, if I call this function, so once I already called here, right? If I call it again here, then again another time the same code will be executed and you will get the output from the same function, right? So I mean this is the simplest part of syntax, okay, for writing the functions. Did you understand? Writing functions. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So now we'll go with the functions with the parameters. Okay, functions with the parameters. Now I'll write and I'll show you another beauty of this Python programming language. We'll take two arguments now, x5, right? x5. Then if x greater than y, then print x, right? Then else, right? Else print y, right? Now my definition of function to find the maximum of two numbers is what I defined a function called as maximum with two parameters, x comma y. So here in the code what I am writing is, if x is greater than y, I am printing value of x, otherwise I am printing the value of y. So just I am finding the maximum among the two numbers. So now look at here, I'll take I'll take p equals to 10, then I'll take q equals to 20, right? And then I'll call the function name, that is maximum of p comma q, right? Now try to understand some more components of the function. I'll explain with the execution. Now look at here what I got here on the screen. 20. Yes?
20.
Right. So since my inputs are 10 comma 20, out of 10 and 20, 20 is max, so it is going to print the value of x, right? First try to understand here. So maximum is the name of the function, right? Then what are these p and q? Try to understand with the comment lines. So p and q are arguments, are called as arguments. They are mean the arguments are used to pass inputs to the function. Getting my point? Then what are x and y here? So x and y are called as parameters. They are known by different words. So input arguments. So inputs are called as arguments, and the receivers, these are called as senders. These are called as senders, and these are called as receivers. So x and y are called as parameters, which are going to receive. They receive data from arguments. Great. So value of p will be copied to x, the value of q will be copied to y. So x and y are the copy of p and q. X and y will be the copy of p and q. So that's why here it is going to check the condition called as 10 greater than 20. So 10 greater than 20. So since this condition is false, it is going to print the value of y. So what is the value of y? What is the value
20.
of y?
20.
So 20. So that's why we got the output as 20. Is that clear? If I make this as 100,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if I make this as 100, now the output will be 100. Now, so what I explained here with this program, so we have arguments, okay, in the function call. So the arguments are used to pass inputs, okay, to the function. And then in the function definition, the names of the variables will work as parameters. So the names of the variables will work as parameters. They are going to receive the data from the arguments. Are you getting my point? What are arguments and parameters? Yes. Arguments are used in function call to pass the inputs to the function, but the parameters are used in function definition. Parameters are used in function definition to receive the data from the arguments. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Sharanu, are you
Yes,
there?
sir.
Sharanu. Sharanu.
Yes, sir.
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತೈತಿ?
Yes.
Okay. Saida
Sir.
Shirin.
Sir.
Shirin. Saida.
Yes, sir. Understanding, sir.
Understanding. Sana Murdi.
Yes, sir.
Understanding.
Understanding, sir.
Sneha Mugulkod.
Yes, sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Vani Shri.
Sir.
Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Vishal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you understanding? Okay. Now. Yes. Did you understand this one? This code?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Now,
sir.
see here,
Yes,
now
sir.
see here, without changing anything in the function definition, without changing anything in the function definition, you look into this one now. I'll take a equals to, right, 20.5, right? So now b equals to, I'll take 35.6, right? Now again I'll call the function maximum, right? Maximum of a comma b, right? Will it work or not? Will this code work or not now?
Yes, sir.
Will it work?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but to do the same thing in other programming languages, you need to write two different functions. One for integers one function to work with integers, and one function to work with the floating point numbers. But here you see, same function is working for both in integer arguments as well as for the floating point arguments. Right. Not only this one, you take here one more. I'll take m equals to, right, welcome, and then I'll take n equals to hello world, right? Then I'll call the function maximum of m comma n, maximum of m comma n, right? Now if I run this code, now it will show the output from all the three, right? Did I make any change in my function definition to work with integers or to work with floating point or to work with the string type?
No, sir.
No. Simple code, but it's working for. Yes.
So there will be no limit.
Sorry.
There won't be a limit, sir. We can use how many arguments you can use, sir.
Yeah, you can use any number of arguments, sir. No restriction. You can use any number of arguments. So here basically this function is working with two arguments. But if you want to work with multiple arguments like 3, 4 and 5, so you can do that one. We'll show. Later we'll take up those part in later chapters. Okay. Right. Here I'm just showing you how functions how easiest method we have in Python to write the functions. Okay. So look at here now. One simple function is working for all the types. So integers, floating point numbers, and string type. Right? But same thing if we compare with other programming languages where we need to write the different functions. Okay, so one function for integers, one function for floating point, one function for string type. Okay, so but that complexity is not there in this language. Right? Did you understand?
Repeat, sir.
Right. Now we have taken here literal data, so but even you can work with this way also. You can see here now I'm changing the code. Enter a first number, for example. I'll write enter a first number. Yeah, enter a first number, right? Then I'll take a copy of this one and I'll type here. Okay, now first one basically I want it with the integer type, so I'll convert the data to the required form, that is integer form, right? Now this will turn off, will convert the data into integer form, and then function will be called with integer values. So here, so I want the data in the form of float, so we'll take a float of, right, this one. Enter first floating point number. I'll write first floating point number. Okay. Yeah. So here I'll make it as a integer number, and then this one is second integer number, right? then so I'll take a copy of this one, then second floating point number. Yeah, second floating point number. For this one you need not to do conversion, because the data which we read from the keyboard will always be in the string form. So simple, you can write the this one, sorry, simple, you can just write a function name input. Okay, then for second one I'll write input of enter a second string, enter a second string. Right, enter a first string and enter a second string. So conversion is not required for string form, because the data that we type from the keyboard will be read in string form only. So now if we run this code, now look at here, 100 followed by 200. Now output from that one is 200. Then floating point number, if I take 12.5, then 5.6, then 12.5 is the max among these two. Then string, so I'll take welcome, welcome, then I'll take hello. Right, now we got welcome. Right, did I find any difficulty in writing code? Right, simple modification serving for me to work as expected. Right, so are you finding easy to write the code? I mean, with the function, writing for function is easier one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right. Then function. So now I discussed about writing functions, right? Then passing arguments, and then with the parameters, passing arguments and accepting the data from the arguments in the parameters, right? And then now the third component that you need to understand from the function is returning value, because usually functions are used to do some computations, right? And those after computation it is going to produce some output. So those outputs can be returned with a statement called as return. I mean, we have a keyword called as return keyword. With the help of return keyword, you can return the output of the function to the callee. Okay, so now how to do that one we'll see with the one more function. Right, I'll write here again same function I'll take, but I'll write it with the return keyword. For example, write xy, right? Then if x is greater than y, now instead of printing, what I'll do here now, I'll return x, else I'll return y. Right. And one more difference I'll tell you here. Another advantage of return statement is here I am returning only single value, that is either value of x or value of y. But later you will study in second chapter, in second module, you are going to learn multiple values can be returned, but that's not allowed in C programming language. So allowed in C programming language only with the pointers, but without the help of pointers, you can't return more than one value in C programming language, right? But here in Python, you can return either single value or you can return a multiple values. So the returning of value can be done with a simple return statement. Okay, either single value or multiple values can be returned, right? Then now we'll take a equals to 10, then b equals to 20. Then I'll take a big equals to maximum, right? Maximum then of a comma b. Right. Now print big. Yes. This is sample related to function. Yes, I'm going to name this as 3. Right. Now run the same. Okay. And now look at here. Same code, but with the return statement. Now we got the output as 20 only, right? So 10 and 20 we have passed as input, right? So now among the 10 and 20, the 20 is the maximum. So that 20 has been assigned to big, and now we are displaying with the value of a big. Okay, so that value is 20. Did you get this one now?
Yes,
So
sir.
this function is having
Yes, sir.
arguments. Look at here, this function is having arguments, and function definition is having parameters, and then it is having the return statement. So return statement. So this is called as the receiver now. This big is the receiver, which is going to receive the value from the function definition. Is going to receive the value from the function definition. Either it may be x value or it may be a y value, and that value will be copied to big. So here I already shown you with the this one. This is how, right? Here we have a function maximum, and it is taking some inputs and it is producing the output, and that output we are storing in big, and we are displaying, finally we are displaying the result of the big. Did you get this one now? Is it complex or easier to write?
Easy, sir.
Easy.
Easy, sir.
Right?
Easy,
now,
sir.
now my task to you, my task to you. Now whatever the functions, whatever the programs you had already written, okay, like without using functions, can you rewrite those functions, or can you rewrite those programs with functions? Earlier programs what we already discussed, okay, so many functions we already discussed, and we wrote the code for function different programs. Can you rewrite those programs with functions? For example, for GCD, for prime number, for finding Fibonacci series, can you rewrite those programs with the functions?
Yes, sir.
Will you try?
I'll try.
Will you try?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So look at here, the last statement to tell about functions. The functions are basically store and reuse pattern type. Store and reuse. Once we write the code, we can use many times. So you can refer this code, because I already discussed all those things with the execution. So here in PPT, I have taken some different examples to explain the same thing. I already discussed about arguments, right? Already discussed about parameters, right? You work with this PPT I will upload immediately. Okay, work with these return values. Just now I discussed about the return values. Okay, then when you have return value, then function can be called as a fruitful function, because it is going to return something. So I can call this as a fruitful function. But when function is not returning value, then it can be called as non-fruitful function, or it can be called as void function. A function without return value can be called as void function. Void function, VOID, void function, or it can be called as non-fruitful function. Right? So multiple parameters I already shown you with the multiple parameters, like 2 parameters. Okay, 1 parameter, 2 parameter, 3 parameters, that I already shown with the execution. Right? So here is void functions. Right? These all things I already discussed. So this is what I discussed today: functions, built-in functions, then user-defined functions, parameters, arguments, then with results, without results, right? Then why we have to use functions. So that's all about this today's class. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your
Yes,
job is to write all the previous programs which we have discussed. Okay, which we have discussed with the help of functions. Right? Will you write?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Try. Try writing, so that you can more you write, more programs you write, so your errors will be reduced. Okay, that's the practice you need to have. Okay, to become some good programmer, right? Okay, shall I wind up the class, today's class?
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow we'll discuss more on functions only. We'll have some more features of functions in the next class. So that is in the next class, Thursday class. We'll discuss some more things about the functions. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.